This government is very, very good at giving in. It's given in to the European Union, surrendered yet more sovereignty to the EU despite Brexit. It's completely given up the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands and is paying Mauritius to do it. So there are still questions, I think, to be asked about the deal that's been done around Gibraltar. Speaking earlier on today, Fabian Picardo, the Chief Minister of Gibraltar, said this.
Remember that when a British citizen arrives at Gibraltar Airport, they have to show their passport to Gibraltar Passport Control. Anyway, we are separate immigration jurisdictions to the United Kingdom. At the moment, the vast majority of those arriving at Gibraltar Airport from the United Kingdom, the vast majority, I won't give you the percentage, but I think it's upwards of the 90%, use Gibraltar Airport to go to Spain. So they go past Gibraltar Passport Control, they leave the airport and they go straight to Spanish passport control to enter the Schengen area. What we're doing is we're bringing those two closer together.
Well, I'm joined live from Gibraltar by the Chief Minister of Gibraltar. Welcome to the programme. I can't help feeling that when I look at the fact there'll be Spanish border guards there at the border looking at British passports, Gibraltarian passports, I can't help feeling when you've surrendered some of your sovereignty on the vital area of VAT, I just can't help feeling that somehow Gibraltar's just a little bit less British today.
Good evening, Nigel. It's a pleasure to join your show. I really appreciate the question mark after the strap line there about whether there's a Gibraltar surrender deal, because there isn't. We have not surrendered, and we would never surrender one grain of our land, one drop of our water, or one breath of our air. We have not surrendered control of Gibraltar's borders to anyone. Gibraltar's border will only be controlled by the Borders and Coast Guard agents of His Majesty's Government of Gibraltar. Just behind me this afternoon in Casemate Square, we have cheered 3 times for His Majesty the King's birthday, and we have heard the national anthem played 4 times. What is going to happen when you arrive at Gibraltar's border is that a British border guard will determine whether you can enter Gibraltar. You will then go on a cumulative check, the second check, which will be carried out by the Schengen authorities. That check will be carried out in an area which will be at the northern end of Gibraltar Airport, which will be what we call the second line check area, which will be equidistant between Gibraltar and Spain. Gibraltar guards will have access to that area into Spain. And there you will get Schengen cleared. If you are a resident of Gibraltar, British resident of Gibraltar, or any other nationality resident in Gibraltar, it will not be possible for a Schengen guard to deny you the right of return to Gibraltar. They will not be able to arrest you or detain you. No, we have done an excellent deal, which is the deal that the people of Gibraltar wished for. And you were talking earlier about the mandate that President Trump had. I took a mandate for the people of Gibraltar for exactly this deal during the general election of 2023. All of these details are set out in the New Year's Eve agreement of 2020, which people knew about, and people chose to elect me to deliver as a treaty between the United Kingdom and the European Union. I hope that you will welcome that when you understand all of the details, which people will need to see when the treaty is published.
So why have you given in, effectively, some of your sovereignty over areas like VAT? Because, I mean, I know very well that the cruise ships come...
We haven't. You're wrong. Gibraltar will not apply VAT as a result of this treaty. There will be no VAT in Gibraltar at all. You are wrong about that. I understand that it's perfectly understandable for people not to know the detail because we haven't published the treaty yet, because the legal text is not published. So I fully understand. I'm not criticizing you for it. There is going to be a different way of doing import duty to Gibraltar, but there will not be VAT. So it would be utterly wrong. It would be utterly wrong to suggest that we're going to have VAT. What we're going to do is continue with the regime that we have in respect of duties, but we shall do it in a different way to ensure that we can have access to the single market. Remember that our traders at the moment have access to a market of about 40,000 people and some tourists. As a result of this, we get access to 500 million people who can buy our wares online. It's a great deal, and there's no VAT. I invite you to come back to Gibraltar. I know you've been, and let's have a pint, and I'll explain all the details. When are you coming? Come before Schengen border guards. Come before Schengen border guards, so that you're not dependent on the way in.
I'm always very happy to come to Gibraltar and have a pint and fish and chips and have a bet, of course. Quick thought. David Lammy said, this means there won't be a hard border. I can remember going back to the 1980s when I had family that were working on the Rock, that getting across that border had been a complete nightmare. Does it effectively mean now being part of Schengen that people almost walk straight in?
Yes, and that's what we have wanted. That's what people in Gibraltar voted for. It's what we want. It's what we've chosen. Now, you'll know when you get to the United States, if you're not in the global entry system, etc., it can take a long time to clear a 747. When you used to come in the 1980s, Gibraltar's economy was smaller. It was 60% funded by the MOD. Today, 15,000 people. That's about 20 or 100, 200 747s. We need to come into Gibraltar every morning. It'll be worse than Liverpool Street Station, but with French passport control to get them from the tube to the city. It would grind the city to a halt. So this deal is the deal Gibraltar needs to be economically independent and self-sufficient without VAT and without any British resident of Gibraltar being able or susceptible to be stopped from coming into Gibraltar by any Schengen guard.
But a British citizen could be stopped by a Schengen guard.
Yes, indeed. That's what the people of Gibraltar voted for. We think that is, frankly, entirely acceptable because a British citizen that comes to Gibraltar, the vast majority of them, not a few, the vast majority of them rightly use Gibraltar Airport to access the southern Spanish coasts. And after they walk through Gibraltar border guards today, the next thing they do is they go to a Schengen border guard who lets them into the Schengen area. We're bringing that together, and in doing so, this is the.
All right.
You're good at numbers. You're good at numbers. Let me give you this number. Yeah. Today, Spain controls 15 million movements across Gibraltar's frontier. If they choke us there, they can destroy our economy. In the future, she will control only the arrivals from third countries at Gibraltar's airport, closer to 750,000 movements. This is the right deal for Gibraltar, and that's why I have a mandate from the people of Gibraltar to deliver.
It's a pleasure to have you on the programme, and we are
See you in Gibraltar.
On GB News. We're big supporters of Gibraltar. Don't worry about that. Thank you. That was interesting, Jacob, wasn't it?
Interesting. I think the Union Jack was flying upside down behind him, which might indicate a sign of distress. And it was a bit disappointing.
A little change to import duties, And basically, a British person, he avoided me, a British person could be stopped by a Schengen guard, effectively, from going into
That's right. A foreign policeman can stop a British person going into British territory.
But they're in a tough spot.
It makes Gibraltar less British, and they must realise that.
That was my question.
And the import duty is a VAT. He was being disingenuous on that.
I'm afraid I think so.